Hola, hola, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo están? This is Ayana Mojica, Wisdom Medicine Woman, broadcasting live from Oaxaca, Mexico on Valentine's Day. And I want to share with you about 88 minutes of love. 88 minutes of love. So that's my topic today. Valentine's Day, the celebration of love all over the world, whether you're single or married or a couple, same sex, heterosexual, it doesn't matter. If you're loving your dog, if you're loving your cat, if it's a friend. Here in Mexico, it's not only a romance day, but it's also a day of friendship. So the Dia de Amistades. I see somebody on. So Valentine's Day, Dia de San Valentin, and I'm not going to go into the history of it, but it is a day where there's a lot of energy and focus on love. And of course, yes, we can have love every day. Yes, we can celebrate the dragons every day, because we just came through the Chinese New Year of the Dragon, so there was a lot of emphasis on that. But when we have a day that's dedicated to, whether it's gift giving around Christmas holidays, love around Valentine's Day, mothers around Mother's Day, fathers around Father's Day, dragons around the New Year of the Dragon, that's the time to jump in that energy. That's the time to receive the influx, the waves and waves of energy that's focused on that particular thing. So right here in Oaxaca, Mexico, there's actually like 3 or 4 different celebrations going on at the same time, not just Valentine's Day, but I'm not going to get into that. So who's on? Who's watching? Today, the celebration of Valentine's Day, the Day of Love, in whatever capacity you want to experience it or acknowledge it, it is a day of beautiful celebration. When I taught I used to be a professor. I've been a professor at the university level. I've been a professor at the college level. And I have been a professional educator at the elementary school level. And I taught bilingual in English and Spanish. I taught Mexican children. And I don't know who that is, but it's nice to see that thumbs up. And when I was teaching that beautiful demographic, because the Mexicans have a high regard for teachers. Hi, John, it's good to see you. Yay. Don Jackson is a designer. So the Mexicans have a high regard for education, high regard for educators and teachers. And when Valentine's Day comes around, and when I was teaching this beautiful demographic, oh my gosh, I received so many Valentine's cards and gifts and celebrations. And so the Mexican culture has a high regard for Valentine's Day, as well as other cultures. But this culture here, especially in Mexico, it's something extra special. So it's very extra special. So I wanted to share, and I'm here in my home. I call it the Magdalene Temple and Garden here in Oaxaca, Mexico, dedicated to the feminine, dedicated to healing, dedicated to sacred medicines, dedicated to the spiritual teachings. So that's where I'm at right now, here in Oaxaca, Mexico. My title is 88 Minutes of Love. Chantel Romero, I see you. 88 Minutes of Love. So I appreciate when you do comments and thumbs up and hearts. 88 minutes of love. why. So I had the I didn't think I was going to tear up about this, but I had the beautiful honor of being in a love relationship of a very, very high frequency that most people don't get in their lifetime. Whew. People talk about twin flames, they talk about soulmates. I never talked about it until I experienced it. And when you have this kind of love, thank you, Dawn. Hi, Connie. Connie, you moved to Colombia. How's your Spanish? ¿Cómo está tu español? When you have the honor and the privilege and the blessing of being in a high vibrating, perfectly matched relationship that is not only loving, honoring, respectful, juicy, passionate, financially abundant, on the spiritual path, moving in your dharma together, moving in your dharma, knowing that when that other person came into your life or comes into your life, that the thing that you have been knowing that you're supposed to be doing on your dharmic path, something higher, you knew you were supposed to be doing something greater and higher, and it didn't happen until this other came into your life. That's what I experienced. For 26 months, I had this incredible relationship. And then he transitioned. He transitioned into light. I can't believe I'm still emotional about it because I've healed from that over and over and over again. However, here on this Valentine's Day, here in Oaxaca, Mexico, when I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I was showered with all of this love. I was showered with all this love. And I wasn't expecting, I'm actually going to show you a picture of the person I'm talking about. From the altar. He's been on the altar. I pulled him out. I pulled his picture out the other day and put him on the altar. There he is. That was when he was young and getting ready to go into the military. He called himself Mahisadu, he who stands true before her. So when we have the privilege, the honor of experiencing this higher love, when we have the privilege and the blessing of experiencing this sacred union, when the other walks into your life and you both vibrate higher, your lives individually vibrate higher, and then together something greater comes out of it, because we were definitely on purpose. When that happens, it is a holy moment. It is a holy moment. It's it's not only the love, it's not only the romance, it's not only the friendship, it's not only the juiciness, the passion. There's something higher, there's something greater. And I'm going to say the word God. God just steps in, and there's these moments of exhilaration beyond the honeymoon phase. These moments of exhilaration and knowing that you are on purpose with this other who's on purpose, and that together you are creating something greater and more beautiful than you could have ever done on your own. Quite amazing. And if you read the description of this live, I call it 88 minutes of love. And I call it 88 minutes of love because I want to offer you, whether you're a man or a woman or a man, doesn't matter, he, she, they, doesn't matter. 88 minutes of being on a high vibration call with me to infuse you with this incredible energy, to infuse you with this inspirational, vibrational, high vibe, dharmic, I would like to say, energy. 88 minutes of love. So I am making this offer on this Valentine's Day. So it's not just being in this conversation that goes higher and opens your heart wider, and the energy comes and infuses your heart with the medicine it needs to clear away any debris that keeps you from this beautiful higher frequency of love. You also receive 8 days, and 8 is a powerful number. 8 is the number of abundance. 8 is the number of infinity. You receive 8 consecutive days of love messages, love videos, love songs to continue to guide you and infuse you with this love and light at a very high frequency. So that's the 88 minutes of love. It's a beautiful, inspired, very highly inspired offer that the description is in this live. So look for that. But when you have that match, when you have the opportunity, the ability, it's like when time splits open, when there's this moment when you are catapulted, and it's like this moment in time where you are catapulted in, when you are divinely enter this realm that has been graced, that has been given to you when you meet this other. Quite phenomenal. So I met him, this beautiful soul. I met him during one of my raw Tantra meet and greet events that I was doing in California, where we would gather around the topic of Tantra at a restaurant. Everybody paid their own way, and then we would have a topic and we would have a theme for that evening. And it was a beautiful way for singles and couples to come together and meet one another and have these discussions about sensuality and sexuality and sacred sexuality and these relationships and intimacy. Beautiful people showed up. And so I was having these, I'm going to be doing them here in Oaxaca, Mexico. So a little side note, Oaxaca Tantra is about to go live. And one of the things we will be doing is the very successful, yeah, Dawn, it was awesome. Yeah, those raw Tantra meet and greets and the pujas. Well, I'm going to be doing them here. So the raw Tantra meet and greets were just so vibrant. The great people showed up, beautiful looking, beautiful inside, beautiful outside. And I was holding these events because I personally, after being divorced back in 2000, and that's a whole nother story, but I was like, you know what? I've got to do something different regarding relationships, and I got to figure this out about intimacy. I have to figure out about sexuality and the sacredness of my sexuality, and what does that even mean? In fact, those two words together, sacred and sexuality, when I looked it up online back there in 2000, you couldn't find that. You couldn't find those two words together. If you look now, you're going to find it all the time. Powerful, deep, beautiful, full of love, yes. If you put those two words together now, sacred and sexuality, all kinds of millions and billions of hits. And some of them are not that sacred at all, right? But back then I was wondering about sacred sexuality. Like, how do you be in a relationship, in a marriage, where the sexuality and sensuality is sacred? So that was I'm a researcher as well, and that was my quest. And so I said, well, let me start announcing events. Let me create some events for singles and couples to show up. And whoa, yeah, fast forward. Very, very successful, very beautiful people showing up, beautiful events for singles and couples to come together and explore ways of being with one another, explore these topics on sensuality and sexuality. And there was so much fun. Oh my gosh, there was so much fun and so yummy. And I also created this event called Raw Tantra Meet and Greet. Why raw? Well, because at that time I was a raw foodist, and my favorite restaurant was this raw vegan restaurants. And my belief was that if you eat raw, if you eat very high vibrating food, your body is going to be very high vibrating, which equals very high vibrating intimate interactions. And so people showed up. The food was delicious, the conversation was delicious. And my thought was this, back in 2007 was, I don't know if I'm ever getting married again. I don't know if I'll ever even have a relationship again after my divorce. However, if I do, I would want someone who is at my level, my vibrational level. I would want someone who also wants a sacred relationship, sacred union, sacred sexuality. And so Ayana, why don't you just create these events and see who shows up? Maybe they'll show up. Well, I did these events, and so I started those events in 2001, maybe 2002, and in 2010, he walked in through the door of one of my Raw Tantra meet and greets. And when we saw each other in that moment, there was so much joy and pleasure, as though we had known each other for a long time. We're like, oh, there you are, finally, there you are. And our energies went very, very high immediately. I could feel it, he could feel it. It just literally, shoom, like shoom. All that tantric work I'd been doing solo and teaching was moving through my body. And he also was on this tantric path. And so his energy was like, woo, also. And so together, when we met in that moment, something powerful happened. The Kundalini, the experience of high vibration. It was definitely a magic moment. He was such a match for you and such a beautiful soul. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. So anytime we talk about him, he shows up. So I'm sure that, if you knew him, he might show up in your dreams. So I haven't talked about him a long time. But when I woke up this morning, I wasn't even thinking about him. It was just like this outpouring of love just started flooding over my body, over my mind, over my heart. And I said, well, let me offer. It was like the inspiration, what happens when you get inspired. I said, okay, it's Valentine's Day. And let me reach out. Let me share with my community this beautiful gift. Let me see who would respond and be interested in 88 minutes of love. 88 minutes of love, where we are we're in it for 88 minutes, allowing this beautiful energy to flow through me, to me, and as me to you, infusing you and activating you with more light and a higher frequency of love. Allowing the love to move into the heart. And if you are in a relationship already and, having a little challenges, recontracting the relationship, bringing the relationship into higher alignment, and having this infusion of light, this infusion of love for those 88 minutes. And then for 8 days following, you're receiving not only these emails with love notes, these images of love, these videos, many videos of love that I will create for you, as well as love songs. I will also be placing a beautiful candle on my altar, my working altar, to ignite and infuse you with greater love. With love comes abundance, comes more money, comes wealth. And I wanted to just get on here because I've been inspired to share this with you. My love story is quite profound. A love affair, a love story that most people do never, ever, ever get a touch of to experience in their lives. And I believe that with this energy, that we can access this now. You can access this now. Whether you're in a relationship or not, you can have this now. Whether you've been waiting for your soulmate or your twin flame, or maybe you forgot, you're just like, I'm done with this, or my relationship is good, but I like it to be better, or, I'm ready to check out of this relationship, but I want to give it one more try. All of that can be done. All of that can be activated very, very, very quickly because the portal is open. Because the portal is open. So I leave you with this. He called himself, when he met me, he said, I am Mahis Sadhu. His legal name was Ron David Ellis, PhD, doctorate in business. And he was the first white dragon. Some of you know me. I also mentor men as white dragons. Mahi Sadhu means he who stands true besides her. And I remember after that, and I'm going to close with this, when he came through that door and he positioned himself right next to me, right next to my right hand, and I could see what he was doing. Like, he was like, I'm taking my spot, I claim you. And before he left, he made arrangements to see me the next day. Because we were, I was leading this group, right? The Raw Tantra meet and greet group. So we couldn't do too much personal one-on-one time. But when we met the next day at the beach, my favorite beach, he came, he pulled up. And we were waiting for each other. We were so excited. He pulled up and he took out anointing oil. Before he said anything, he took out anointing oil. Jasmine, one of my favorites. And anointed my forehead, my third eye. And then he said, now a lot of guys say this, I've been looking for you all my life and I've been dreaming about you. But he said something a little bit different. He said, since I was a little boy, I had dreams about a petite, brown-skinned Latina dancer. And I kept looking for her all my life. And now I have found her. So he's on the other side, and he's being celebrated, and he's pouring out his blessings upon myself and all of you who are watching and listening. And I say today, happy Valentine's Day. May the love, the depth of love, the breath of love, the pieces of love, the juiciness of love, the abundance of love, the dharmic love, the love that you have been wanting and longing and dreaming for, may it be yours. May it be yours. Happy Love Day. Thank you, Connie. I bless you. And again, 88 minutes of love is the offering that I'm offering now. I have all the information there, and I'll put in the comments how you could register for that. And whether you are loving a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. And here's the other thing about the heart, loving with the heart. Is it Rumi who says it's the wailing of the broken heart is the pathway to God? Of course, when this beautiful soul transitioned, my world fell apart. And I was in deep grief. And it was it was like years of deep grief. And I went to an event on compassionate communication because I knew there was a group that could hold my heart. And as I was sitting in this circle, of loving people, learning about how to compassionately communicate with their partners. I stepped aside during the break and spoke to the leader and said, wow, I'm having these experiences and my heart I can't get over it. And he said, the doorway of the broken heart is the pathway to God. What is your beloved saying to you now through this broken heart? And that's what did it. That's what did it. It's like he came through. He started speaking to me, started speaking to the whole group of about 50 people. Everybody was in tears. Everybody was getting healed. And I believe that even the brokenhearted can experience a profound depth of love. A profound depth of love. Because when your heart is broken, we got to turn to, if we have a belief in God, we got to turn to God and say, please heal this heart. We give our hearts, please heal this. And then all of a sudden, Spirit rushes in. Shah! The angels rush in. Shah! Spirit rushes in. Frah! The honey comes and heals the heart. The anointing oil comes over us. And now we have greater compassion and a greater capacity to love. So I bless you. Please reach out to me. When it's broken, it's open. When it's broken, it's open. Thank you, Dawn. When it's broken, it's open. Yes. Yes. And it's open, and then this higher love can come through. Comes through like waves and waves and heals all the broken pieces of humanity that has landed in our souls. And we become something greater, more humble, and more compassionate. I bless you on this Valentine's Day. I send you great love. I bless you. I bless you. I bless you. 88 minutes of love. Mwah, besitos. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I just send you so much love and joy from my heart and he who stepped in from his. Ciao.